Hey guys, Vadal here. I did another career how-to and stuff like that on the forums, so I've been putting together some video and stuff to show you guys as far as how I created my career guy and a few things I'm going to be showing you guys and kind of pointing out to you guys that may not know. You may know already if you're going to find out. But first thing I did was obviously this is my first fight on Expert. And if you look at the actions on your first fight, it's always going to be one. You only get the one action on your first fight. But I usually start off with the lower base cred fighters because they're generally a little bit easier. And when you're playing on expert, it helps out to build your guy instead of just trying to go up against the hardest ones possible. Um, it's kind of a better option to choose as far as taking the lesser road there. But anyways, first thing I did was go to the camp sessions and I picked up a new ability. I created one career guide before this where I started doing the stats, and doing stat base is nice because you can get your stats up to 70, and that's when some of your other techniques start coming in. Like if you actually look, I'm going through the move lists, and everything on the side has some type of move prerequisite. It's either 70 or 80 in the area, or it has some type of camp loyalty. But the ones you want to learn, obviously, are stuff that's going to benefit you and your gameplay. One thing that specifically I like doing is I like going into a camp that I know I'm not going to choose as my primary camp once you get your 15 in. Because once you get 15 fights in, it'll lock into a specific camp. And so I like picking up level 1s and stuff from other camps, so that way when I lock in finally, I can level them up later on without having to worry about it. So I chose this one from Black House. This is a off the cage submission reversal, and how you do submission reversals is obviously it's just a simple, push in on the right stick with the same timing as the reversal. If you see there, I missed it obviously on the very first try, and again, I missed it again. But once you actually get the timing down, it goes pretty quick. You'll see here that I start to get the timing down a little bit better, and obviously the first three in the training, obviously just kind of the computer's not actively trying to defend or mess with you, so it makes it a lot easier to do the first three. And then obviously when you actually go to do the practice, like here, it's a little bit more active, although this specific one is kind of still easier to do because it just starts you straight off the cage, and then if you screw up or miss your timing, it'll just reset you. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it there because I ended up missing on quite a few. I ended up getting it towards the end there, but you guys get the point. Alright, and here's our first fight. Going into it and stuff, I'm just going to loosely explain some things that I do like and I don't like about the 2000, the Undisputed 3 versus the 2009-2010 series. Undisputed 3, it actually got a lot of things right. As far as updating the striking game, it's a lot nicer. You can use your striking to kind of avoid some of the grappling effects and the grabs, and takes away a lot from the spamming. Plus they made jabs a lot more effective, so big time props for them for adding that. The one thing that I really don't like is the fact that they crippled submissions off of the start. They kind of made it this thing that you have to get good at the game to be, good at submissions. Well, it's not really realistic if you're signing your guy up as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter and that's what you're supposed to be good at, and yet you can't pull off submissions, within seconds of a ground fight. That's supposed to be what your forte is. That's what you're supposed to be good at. And technically, you can just all of a sudden get to the ground and bam, throw in a submission. But they made it so difficult to land the submission because everything stacks. Everything about the submission stacks. So they have to be low energy or low stamina from body damage, or It has to be the difficulty of the submission, meaning that it has to be a catch submission or a reversal submission. Well, you don't even have those at the beginning of the fight. All you have is a rank 1, a few, you know, ground top, and bottom position submissions. They're all just rank 1. They don't have a lot of sticky factor to it, and sticky factor, I'll go with that in a little bit here when the submission bar comes up. But the sticky factor is just when your bar goes over there, it slows down their bar and makes it feel more sticky, or like they can't get away from you that easy. And versus an AI computer, although there's going to be, you know, some obvious general knowledge of when they're going to be changing directions on their submissions, it still makes it a lot easier when you have that slowdown. And in order to build that, you have to have things stacked in your favor. A more difficult or more advantageous position, along with lower energy, lower stamina, things like that. So you definitely want to build as many of those things in your favor as possible. But yeah, it's kind of crap that you actually have to build your fighter into that, and you don't obviously come equipped out of the bat with some better submissions. Obviously, I rocked him here. Here's a little bit of the submission game. For obviously you that don't know, it's just a ring around the rosy with really bad graphics. Obviously, my bar here kind of runs low, and that there is, if you can kind of see it, is a little bit of the sticky factor kind of going into play. Obviously, there's not enough slowdown when my bar covers his to be all that effective. Yes, you can pull off submissions like that, but you either have to be lucky, skill, there's a few factors in there, but mostly you can kind of oops it really easy in the beginning of the fight like this. So I do like a lot of things they added in between rounds. Some of those positive negative things are pretty funny because they contradict each other, but yeah, again, I'm liking the new game. I like where they went with this new game, but there's definitely a lot of things that I really don't like. Okay, going into the second round here. I know it's kind of a long fight, and my striking is absolutely horrible. I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. Yeah, there you go. There's one thing I do like about this new one is the new body lock system. It doesn't take a lot of time to learn that, but anyways, your opponents obviously have all the moves already when you don't have anything. He's already pulling rubber guard and stuff, and we don't have shit. Anyways, here's some of my ground striking abilities. Obviously there I'm not posturing up, I'm kind of waiting, and as you can see my hands are sliding underneath his arms, and that's something I really like in the game, that they added that to the animations. When you slide your hands under like that, that shows that you're blocking his transmission, so that's me holding right on the right stick. Alright guys, we've won that one obviously, so we got to pick a new fighter. If you notice here, all the actions are still won. Your first two fights, that's going to happen in the later ons and stuff. You're going to want to pick the fights, obviously give you the 2 action points, because then you can do what I like doing anyways, is I like doing a training session and then also a camp session, so you're learning one ability plus you're upping your stats. But here I'm actually going to be learning what is famously known to the guys from 2010 as the Lyoto Machida takedown. They did some improvements from last year to this year to the takedown. It's absolutely fantastic, especially for grapplers or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's on occasions, if they're striking and they throw like a hook or something like that, it'll give you their back. It's also a great way to duck under a punch and initiate a clinch because it has a little bit of a charging factor. You can throw it from further out. The only downside really to it is if you get caught, you can take some serious damage because you're kind of charging in. But once you learn it properly and get good with its timing, you can use it quite effectively, and it gives you a bunch of, it opens up a bunch of new windows as far as taking somebody's back and getting submissions. As you can see here, obviously he's not actively defending, so it makes it a lot easier to take it. being that I don't have any takedown skills or haven't put any points into takedown, it's going to make the training be a little difficult. So it can be a little frustrating, but one thing that you do want to wait for is you want to wait for him to throw punches, and I'll show you here that once you wait for him to actually start throwing the punches, if you do the takedowns on the punch, it's an easy automatic takedown, and I'll hit, I think, 3 in a row here. So, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it and make another video, so I'll see you guys on the next video. Alright, bye.